this video, we're working on a 2006 Toyota 4Runner, and we're going to be replacing the right front axle shaft. Here's a list of tools you're going to need to perform this job. First, we're going to remove the tire, and using a flathead screwdriver, you can pry off the dust cover. Then, using your needle nose, go ahead and remove your cotter pin. Using a 36mm impact socket, go ahead and remove the nut for the axle. Remove the cotter pin for the outer tie rod. Then remove the bolt for the outer tie rod. Careful to strike the steering knuckle and not the outer tie rod, as this could cause damage. Next, we're going to remove our ABS wire harness from the steering knuckle. It's held on by two 10mm bolts. Now, remove the sway bar link. Take out the cotter pin for your upper ball joint, and go ahead and disconnect the upper control arm from the steering knuckle. Disconnect your wheel speed sensor so it doesn't get damaged. Remove your brake caliper hardware. Disconnect your brake line from the steering knuckle by removing the 12mm bolt. I'm using a bungee cord to secure my caliper. That way it's not dangling by the brake line, because that could cause damage. Now you can remove your rotor. Remove the speed clips that hold the wheel speed sensor wire harness to the steering knuckle and place it aside. So we're going to partially remove this bolt and fully remove the other bolt that holds the steering knuckle to the lower control arm. What that's going to allow us to do is swing the lower control arm out of the way to where we can have full access to our axle shaft. And now you can see the reason we're replacing this axle shaft is pretty obvious. You can use a pry bar and a hammer to smack the rear of the axle shaft, and usually it'll come out with just a few taps. Now install your new axle shaft in the reverse order that you took the other one out. You're just gonna kind of twist as you're pushing inward, and you want to push until you hit a snap ring snap into place like this. Now carefully guide the other end of your axle shaft through the hub. Reinstall the hardware that connects your steering knuckle to your lower control arm. Reinstall your upper control arm. Reinstall your cotter pin. Reinstall the sway bar link. Reinstall the axle shaft nut. Reinstall the cotter pin. Reinstall your outer tie rod. Reinstall the cotter pin. Reinstall your brake rotor. Reinstall your brake caliper. Reinstall your wheel speed sensor wire harness to your upper control arm and steering knuckle. Reinstall your brake line to the steering knuckle. Reinstall the dust cover. Use a flathead screwdriver and a hammer to secure it back in place. Now, reinstall the tire. It's a good idea to always go back and double check over your work when you're done. If you find this video helpful, hit that subscribe and like button so someone else can find it. Good luck on replacing your axle shaft on your Toyota 4Runner, and thanks for watching.